Hello and welcome to the Student's Perspective, a podcast created for students by students. My name is Keisha Horton. I'm the mental health clinician for Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, and I'm here with three of our North Forsyth Viking students today on the first podcast for the Student's Perspective. Today we have Mr. Aya Imes, a senior here at North Forsyth, Mr. Leah Webster, also a senior here at North Forsyth, and a sophomore, Mr. Johnny Webster. They are going to talk to us a little bit about mental health today and help us get a better understanding of what they are dealing with here in our schools. We're going to talk about mental health, school stress, friendships, and a little bit of everything in between because their voice matters and we want them to be heard. Today we're diving into what mental health really means in high school, and we're also going to talk a little bit about suicide awareness because September is Suicide Awareness Month. So you guys ready to dive in?
Yes.
Awesome sauce. So first and foremost, what does mental health look like for you as a high school student? Either one can jump in.
Okay, I'll start. So for me, I believe mental health is our foundation. It's just as important as our physical health. I am involved in multiple extracurricular activities, so that can cause stress, but mental health is also about self-awareness, how well you know yourself. So we just have to learn to be able to manage these things, and we should treat it just as important as our physical health, considering that our mental health can affect our physical health.
Yes, and vice versa, right?
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Mental health to me, I feel like it's our mental well-being. So like, how good do you feel about handling different things? Like many of us work jobs after school. We do a lot during school, and that's like a whole your full 12 hours of your day, no rest. So it's like your brain is always exercising. It's the mental well-being that you really put into work each day.
Yeah, absolutely. And how you show up each day, right?
Yes.
Comes from your mental health. Love it. Johnny?
Mental health to me is like the state of mind that you're in. What you can handle, what can't you handle, what is too much for you. If you are capable of helping or sharing yourself with others, if you're capable of helping yourself, just where you are.
I heard capacity, right?
Yeah,
like
capacity.
Our mental health determines our capacity for life, for people, for all the things. That's real. Absolutely. Do you think students your age talk enough about their mental health?
I feel like that some do and some don't. I feel like because some students are raised by parents from the generations before us, and stuck on what goes on in my house stays in my house. But I do also feel like some of our parents are actually open to mental health. And so I don't feel like that is talked about enough, but it is starting to be more, maybe get more recognition.
Yeah. We talked a little bit before we went on camera about the difference in those generations, right? And how you all's generation, to me, and most of my peers, are the most woke that we've seen in our lifestyle, and I absolutely love it. What about you, Julia? Do you think it's talked about enough?
So I believe that I wouldn't say 50-50, but I believe that some people talk about it and some people aren't comfortable to talk about it. I feel it comes from the mindset that you associate mental health with. I feel like some people might not feel comfortable. It might be an uncomfortable conversation for some, considering that they never had somebody to talk about it with, or they never had somebody to let them know that it's okay not to be okay. So a lot of us have a lot of things bottled up, and we should get it out. So I think that it's 50-50, I would say. I feel like we should talk about it more, and it is a conversation that needs to be brought to the table.
Awesome.
I think it's not talked about enough. Like at home, the children aren't comfortable talking about it with their parents. A lot of people, they don't have people to talk to. So I don't feel like it's talked about enough, and I'm glad that we're doing this with the youth, and you're getting the personal perspective of adolescence.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. So with that being said, as I mentioned before, September is Suicide Awareness Month, and that's just one of the challenges, right, that we're seeing outwardly. We know that there's a lot going on inwardly, but that's one of the challenges we're seeing outwardly. We talked a little bit about the mental health challenges that you all are seeing, suicide being one of them. How do you feel we can bring more awareness to that? So how can we better support our students to prevent those ideations and those, unfortunately, those that have making that choice? What can we do as adults? What can we do differently? What can we do more of to support you all in that area?
I'll start. A common misconception that tends to spread around is that if you talk about it, you're putting an idea in their head. But that is totally false. We have to talk about it, and we have to bring awareness to it. And when we do talk about it, I think we should approach it in a way as sometimes people just need to know that they are not, and they just need to know that they are heard and they are seen. So I believe that our parents, considering that y'all did come, or not even our parents, but the generations before me,
yes,
y'all did come from a time where it wasn't encouraged to talk about the stuff you're dealing with. So a way I would say that adults can help the youth is to not be so dismissive, considering that we seem to dismiss a lot of things that we cannot physically see. So I would say that the adults could better help the youth by being more attentive and supportive, and maybe noticing the signs and coming to them as maybe even a shoulder to cry on or somebody to talk to. Let them know that you're there. So you should approach it not as trying to change or necessarily fix it, but you should approach the situation as someone who cares, as a compassionate voice, or just to show you care.
So just listen.
Yeah, just
right?
a listen.
Actively listen, right? Because if we make that, we create a safe space, right? Then we could what we call peel the onion. We can peel that onion and create some conversation around it.
Especially from older, some people just need to hear that this is a temporary setback. There's so much more to life than what's going on right now.
That part, it's just a temporary season. Yes. You made a really good point earlier. What you were saying, some of the social media pressure and how people feel alone.
Yeah, so I feel like that a lot of the times what leads people to suicide is the pressure of life, and also feeling alone and neglected by those around them, and not feeling welcomed or feeling like that they have someone to talk to or lean to. I do feel like affirmation is key, especially to the youth, because a lot of times those children don't get that at home. And so when they come to school, sometimes it is a escape from home. And I do feel that we could help the youth by affirming them and letting them know it's okay to talk about mental health. Because I do feel like that when we come to school, it is a home away from home. And sometimes, like I said, students come to escape and to get away. And so, I just feel like that the youth needs affirmation and to understand that it is okay to talk about mental health.
Yes, absolutely. Would you like to add anything, Josiah?
I just like how he mentioned social media, like cyberbullying plays a big role with suicide, things like that, like feeling like you don't belong, like plays a role in projecting it. So
Thank you. I know there's TikTok challenges out here. I'm not a huge TikToker, so I don't know them all personally, but I've heard about them. Have any of you seen some of these TikTok challenges and can give us some light to that?
Well, yeah, I could say I've seen a couple of TikTok challenges that have led to death from the kids doing it. And that's why I feel like when you asked how can the parents better support, I would also say like that cybersecurity, because when you enter social media, that's a whole nother world. You can only shelter your child so much. But if you don't know what they're looking at on the internet, who they're talking to and stuff like that, because bullying happens on social media. So you could be encouraged to participate in the TikTok. I just seen a TikTok where the trend is to put the toaster in the water with you. And that's crazy. But social media is so, what is the word? It's so...
prevalent.
Yeah.
It's very much respected amongst your generation.
Exactly.
They were about to have a whole meltdown when it was threatened.
So it's like certain actions are encouraged.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's really difficult.
Yeah, so we need to be more prevalent. We need to be more mindful of our students' social media activity, our children's social media activity, because it does too early. exposure too early could really be damaging.
It can.
Yeah, because it opens you up to a whole new world. So we didn't have that. Talking about generations, we didn't have that piece, right? Unfortunately, if you were bullied, you had to wait till the next day. You at least had some time off at night, right? But so bullying is not new, but this cyberbullying thing is new.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank y'all for being so real about that. So when things get tough, it's important to have ways to cope. What are some of the ways that you cope with your mental health?
I think it's three main ways. One, I feel like it's very important to talk to people, especially if you cannot trust an adult. Have a friend that you can talk to. Also, in my own personal experiences, I sought therapy. Therapy does help, and I feel like that, especially in the African American community, it's not normalized or welcomed as much. Also, my faith is very important to me, so I do believe that having faith in somebody really is important, because I just feel like if you not have no hope or faith, like you have no happiness, you have no life. There's no point. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like it is very important to talk to people, to seek therapy, and to just have hope and have faith, because belief is probably the most powerful thing. Yeah.
Love that.
Okay, so for me, I also have three. So first, I'm going to agree with Johnny, my faith.
Look at me.
I'm going to agree with first. Okay, so yes, I have three as well. First, with Johnny, I'm going to start with my faith. I do, when things are stressful and stuff, I do turn to God and I do pray. So praying is one way that I cope with stress. The second way I would say is self-care. Like, if I'm feeling stressed, I like doing good for myself. So I would probably go get my hair done or something, just to take my mind off of it and just have a breather.
Look good, feel good.
Exactly. And the third thing I would say, I would do is talking. I truly feel like we should not keep things bottled up inside, because it's going to build up so much until we just burst and have an outburst like a balloon popping. So I do believe that it's important to talk. We should definitely talk about it just to get it out, because sometimes it feels good to just have somebody else hear you and to know that you are heard, and even to hear their point of view on what you're telling them about what you're going through. That's a different perspective. So it's like, okay, maybe they could give you some clarity on the situation, or maybe they can be the one to tell you that it's not that serious. So praying, self-care, and talking about it.
Yeah, having that safe space to talk about it, because it is imperative that it's someone that you do feel safe with, right? But that is, whether it's a therapist, a friend, or a family member, but having that and talking to your God. Yes, absolutely.
One main coping strategy I do is like resting, letting everything go off your shoulders, just taking a little break from everything, kind of like a vacation. Like 2 summers ago, I did an internship at Wake Forest, and they talked a lot about burnout in med students. And we came up with strategies, research strategies, how yoga helps, getting out there, hiking, having an accomplishment jar where you can look at review all your accomplishment at the end of the month. Things like that can really help cope with stress and build up pressure.
Yeah, I love that. And burnout is a whole thing. I'm so glad you used that word, because young people get burnt out too, right? You get tired. You said earlier you're really active, right? So that's a good one. I promise I didn't tell any of you all that, but y'all were dead on. Thank you so much for being so real. We appreciate that. So now that we've talked about what mental health is, we've talked about coping strategies, we've talked about what adults can do to better support, I just want to ask you guys, how can we, in this world that we're living in today, 2025, how can we change the stigma? How can we change the image of mental health? What can we do as young people? What can you do? Let me say you. What can you do to increase people knowledge and awareness of mental health and being able to find the words to express what they're feeling? Because feelings are valid, right? Feelings are valid. We never want people to think that they can't say what they feel. But how can we bring more awareness to this to make sure that we're saving as many lives as possible? Because as you mentioned earlier, this is just a blimp on the picture of your life. It's just a season. just press through, get the support and help that you need, and you can get through this, right? You can learn how to manage whatever it is. But what can we do to bring more awareness and make sure we're supporting everyone?
I believe what we're doing now is a great way to do it. I believe that representation is something important, especially for the youth.
Yeah.
And because like when you see somebody else who has went through or is going through the same thing as you, you can look at them and be like, that's me. And see yourself inside of them. And also when you see somebody who has overcome something that you're going through, that is also something, like, it's like hope. Like, this is not the end. I can come out of this. I feel like representation is key to do so. Like I mentioned previously, affirming students, letting them know that it is okay to talk about it. And like I said, what we're doing now, to see other students talking about it. And yeah, just helping.
So you know you're not alone.
Yeah, and to help other students to realize that we're not alone and that it is okay to talk about mental health.
Yeah, that's real.
And I agree with what Johnny said. As students, I feel like we should be more comfortable asking for help. We should be more comfortable knowing that it's okay not to be okay. So I feel like we should probably talk about it more. Like I said, we need to bring the conversation to the table. It could be uncomfortable, but it's a conversation that has to be had regardless.
Yeah.
Considering that it can affect the way you socialize and the interactions around you, I truly think that the students should take their mental health more seriously. And like I said, it should be treated just as important as your physical health, like going to the doctor. So just like you go to the doctor, you should feel comfortable saying like, dang, I'm really stressed out. Like, can I just talk to you about this right quick? Like, you should treat it with the same importance.
And I want to emphasize that connection between physical health and mental health, because we don't realize the body keeps the score, right? So when we don't deal with our mental health, it's coming up one way or another, whether it can be anxiety or depression, or it can be diabetes or high blood pressure, because you're affecting the way your organs function, because you're not mentally. It's all connected. So thank you for bringing that back up. Yeah. What about you, Josiah?
I feel like, what was the question? Like,
how can we, as a young people, how can we help support and create safe spaces to make sure that we are handling this thing head on?
I feel like with this month just being September, I feel like it's more than that. It's something we can control and change.
Yeah.
So like with breast cancer awareness, things like that, we can't control, but this we can control, and it needs to be talked about more, because a lot of us really didn't know September was the month for this awareness. It's not talked about, like a lot of us didn't really know. So I feel like to get it more out there, bring everybody aware to it, things like that can help change.
Create safe spaces in another different way. Yeah, so it's Suicide Awareness Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, actually May.
Okay.
But trust me, there's an awareness of every month of some sort that's related to mental health. But yeah, it is Suicide Awareness Month, which is directly connected to suicide for sure. I mean, to mental health for sure. So last question, we talked a little bit about it earlier, so I definitely don't want to avoid it. There is a connection in our schools with substance use and mental health. Where do you see that connection?
I'll start. So I'm going to speak like from the youth
please,
point of view.
Please do.
So I believe that people turn to substances in order to fill, avoid, or run away from whatever they're dealing with mentally. So for example, like this generation, I believe the most popular thing that the kids are doing now is like vapes and stuff. I feel like it's a temporary fix, and it has long-term negative effects. So they might think like, this is taking my mind off of it for now, but at the end, when it wears off, you still have to deal with the reality of it. So I feel like people turn to these substances due to what they're dealing with at home. I don't believe that this is the correct approach to take. I believe that they should seek help, not seek the substances.
Yes. I agree. What they're dealing with in life, not just at home, right? It's just in life. It could come from any angle. Anyone else want to add to that?
I want to touch on what she said about the vaping thing.
Yeah.
So I know like a lot of children, they do it as a way of coping, But also, I do feel like that some also do it because they see other people do it, and they do look for a family or a group, and that is a way of getting a support system, like being around that and taking
Getting in, yeah.
taking in and fostering those actions, right? And I also feel that, yes, a lot of people do substances as a way of coping, but I do feel like that those substances can cause more mental issues. And also, I feel like that the mental issues do, wait, I said that, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The mental issues do cause people to turn to substances, but also substances cause more mental issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that chicken with the egg,
Yeah.
right? We don't know which one came first,
Right.
but
Yeah.
they are definitely tied together for sure. Anything to add to that, Josiah?
I feel like substance abuse comes with like fear of missing out or even peer pressure, and then once it gets in the long run, it's hard to quit, and things like that have a bigger in the bigger picture. It causes a big disturbance in your life.
Yes.
So yeah, things like that was really important.
Yes, yes. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. That was real. Like, I think we forget how connected the two are. We sometimes think of them in two different entities, but they are very much connected, and we are seeing an increase in the vapes and so forth. It's not a secret, but we definitely want to do all that we can to support our students to make sure that they have what they need to be successful, because long term, unfortunately, it will catch up with you. Awesome, awesome. So before we wrap up, I just want to leave our listeners and leave you guys with a little bit of hope. If we could give one encouraging message to another student who may be struggling with their mental health, what would you say?
I would say to seek help, to understand that it is okay to talk about it and that you are not alone. And this world is so big, and you have a future. You are placed there for a reason, and that there is somebody out there who is like you and who has overcome what you are currently going through.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
My encouraging message would be hope is real, help is real, and you are not alone. Definitely seek help, and your future is so bright. All you have to do is continue your journey and step into your purpose.
And it is a journey, not a destination. Good.
Some words of motivation I have is keep going. You're not the only one. You haven't been the only one experiencing what you're experiencing. You have so many people around you, guidance counselors, friends, family, people that will always support you to motivate you to keep going.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today for the Student Perspective. This has been exciting. It's our very first. Remember, you're not alone. Mental health is just as important as your physical health, and it's okay to reach out for support. They said it perfectly. I'm not going to kill it anymore. Just listen to your heart, listen to your mind, and follow suit. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next time.